But the actual planning when we were doing it, there wasn't an actual plan, but in how television works, it goes so fast, you know, and you're suddenly, especially for writing and producing it, you're trying to get so far ahead as fast as you can. So there were naturally lots of discussions about what would happen in season 3, but there was never, to my knowledge, and I certainly, because I went from doing Twin Peaks to partnering with David on lots of other scripts, there was never a real plan of a season 3. There were lots of stuff, you know, you'd want to do. Do you know what I mean? There was, you know, from how outlandish we could be to would we, you know, Harley Payton. Is Harley going to come?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harley had the best idea for season 3. But what happens, you know, you're on the set and the writers are there, and you're always talking about, well, God, if we have to start again in May, we got to. Well, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? You know. So that's how they all come up. But there was never like a document or a thing. But Harley had this great idea. I think Harley and Mark, that we would solve everything that was left hanging at the end of the second season, like in the first 20 minutes of season 3, and then it would go. The screen would go black, and then it would be black, and they go to commercial and still be black, and then it would come up, and then this printing would come up, and it would say 10 years later, and then we would take everybody in the series and move them to another job, right? So everybody would be doing something different, right? And basically we just start over. So, but it you know, there's a point, and I'm sure you guys had that same thing too. It kind of felt that somewhere in the middle of that second season we were sucking wind. It was, you know what I mean? It just didn't, for whatever reason it is, you kind of know. You know what I mean? But there wasn't a real plan. There was never a Bible for the first one. We used the ABC wanted a Bible, right? You know, Bible is you guys don't know, it's a big document that explains what happens in the series and what's going to happen in the series. And they're usually pretty thick things that you have to turn to the network. We never did that. We never had one of those, right? Some fan, after the first 4, sent us this huge document that had all these things he thought about the series. It was a big, thick book, and we just sent that over to ABC. Found that the other day, and I thought I should try to find this guy.
Yeah.
But we literally, because they never read it either, right? So there you go.
But and also, if there had been a season 3, do you think the end of season 2 would have looked anything like what it was?
No, yeah, because we, yes, it would have, because we didn't have the official adios by the time we were shooting that last one. So. So it would have looked like that, you know what I mean? But you know, it looks so, well, we can't tell you guys anything yet, but there's so much, David gets a lot of criticism for like, well, that was kind of I don't think I'm giving anyways, that was kind of like a fuck you to television. He's not like that, he's not that person, you know what I mean? That wasn't what it was. So, yeah, we would have had to come up with something completely different.
You could have taken Agent Cooper on the road to another town, solve another murder.
Exactly.
But David had told me that he never intended Twin Peaks to be very long. I mean, he always envisioned it to be a very short story and never reveal the killer, and it was just a way to examine a small town and all of the inner workings. So, I mean, everything about the concept was really never meant to be on television.
No, in the sense of how it was structured, you know, the 2 series we stole from all the time, and in television you do a lot of that, was Mayberry, right? Andy Griffith's show. You can see that Andy's in the, you know, that's Andy. And Mayberry and The Fugitive. The Fugitive is one of the few shows David's really familiar with, right? So those are the 2 shows. I mean, anyway.
All right, do we have questions from? Yeah.
Hi, thank all of you for coming. Is this on? Yeah. Collectively, as a group of actors, all of you have worked with everyone from Robert Wise to Al Adamson, and you also had a variety of directors on the show, not just David Lynch, but also Mark Frost and apparently Diane Keaton. So I was wondering, how did all of these directors, both on and off the show, how did David Lynch differ from them working with actors, and how is he similar? How did he compare to the other directors you've worked with?
Well, you're the Bob Wise.
Well, he was certainly different, and every director has their own method. Robert Wise was kind of he didn't give much direction at all. He hired actors that he thought were capable of doing the parts, and he was more of an editor. He gave very little direction. He would just go in and he would sort of, which I always liked. I thought the real job of a director is, to, like a traffic cop, to sort of point you in the right direction, but not get in the car and drive it. The directors that always bothered me the most were the ones that would give you too much direction, give you line readings, or now walk over here and accent that. I mean, that was like insecurity to me. I like directors that give you some freedom, and I think that Lynch did that. I don't remember him. He would talk. He was more of a surreal kind of director. I don't think I ever worked with anybody that gave me such obscure directions as he did. It was always something